Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Daily. I think I can go out on a limb, say this is the most special episode we've had. Because for the first time ever, we've got a special guest on the show. We've got Denise Salcedo, who you can find. And let me try and remember this, because there's a lot of places. Sportskeeda, Fightful, Pro Wrestling Sheet, WrestleTalk. There's somewhere else that I'm forgetting. Instant Culture, obviously your own channel. Where else am I forgetting? Is that
F4W?
F4W. There we go.
So I was trying to keep track with you. I was like, all right, he's got this one. He's got that one. Okay.
So yeah, we're here with Denise today. Denise, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here. Excited.
Yeah, it should be a really good show. We've got a lot of news to cover as we head into the weekend and obviously everything that's gone down over the wrestling week. We'll be here obviously taking your Ultra Chats. I wasn't very organized, so I haven't done a overlay that we've got, so you won't see the link on screen. But if you want to donate an Ultra Chat and have us talk about a particular topic, talk about a particular, have a question for us or anything you want to know, send it into WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle2. I already see the doc filling up with your questions and comments. So let's get right into the news, Denise, and
do it.
Some Royal Rumble plans that are a bit of a shame, but I guess understandable with everything going on. So John Alba, who has been all over the stuff in Florida at the moment with WWE's move to Tropicana Field from the Amway Center, the COVID situation. If you want Florida news, John Alba's your man. And he is reporting that unfortunately we're going to see no fans at the Royal Rumble. We'd previously heard that was the show WWE wanted fans for. Even if it was just for that one show, it would be weird not to have fans there. And it is going to be weird seeing them come out. And it's basically, the Royal Rumble is 30 pops, and we're not going to get any, unfortunately. So are you looking forward to it less, I guess, now that we obviously won't be able to have fans at Tropicana Field or another venue for the pay-per-view?
I'm definitely not looking forward to it less. I'm actually pretty interested in seeing how it's going to feel. I mean, it's completely different, something we've never had to live through whatsoever. So I'm excited to see how they're going to make it, try to make it as fun. And obviously, with the inclusion of the Thunderdome, they're going to, pipe in whatever they need to pipe in there. So I do think that they're going to try to make up for it. And it is going to feel different because obviously the only real interaction, real reaction that you're going to have is you watching on TV. If you're watching it with someone, what their reaction is, and then what the people are saying online on social media. And I think at this point, I've gotten used to the fact that we don't necessarily have a real audience. So it doesn't affect me in the sense that I'm not looking forward to it. And then also, like, when you think of like the big scope of the situation and where we're at and how things are actually kind of progressively getting worse over here, I prefer this than the alternative of them saying like, oh, hey, we're going to have, X amount of thousands of fans here, because it would really not be the best thing, in my opinion. It just wouldn't be, and it wouldn't look good, and it wouldn't be a good look for them whatsoever. So I prefer for this to go down with no, real audience and just have them go at it like this. And it's going to suck because obviously the Royal Rumble is one of the most exciting pay-per-views to watch. Everybody loves to do the countdown. Everybody likes to pop for, the special surprises, the big surprises, your favorite wrestler, whoever it may be. And we're not going to get that this time, but at least we're not risking lives.
Yeah, I tweeted out when John first broke the news. I'm happy. I'm sad and I'm happy. I'm sad because watching the Royal Rumble without fans isn't going to be the same. But I'm happy that WWE are thinking with their heads for this one and thinking, right, obviously it will be much better with fans, but just it's not worth the risk right now. It's not worth the PR if something goes wrong or anything like that. And I mean, we'll know who WWE wants to push because they'll make those piped in noises and those piped in cheers very loud. And I was wondering, do you think they could... So, for example, when Charlotte won last year, people weren't very happy. Do you think that maybe this year WWE is going to be like, we don't care about what the fans think because we're not going to have that Charlotte situation or that Roman Reigns situation like they did in 2015 where the crowd just craps on it? They can book whoever they want to win and make the crowd reaction as good or as negative as they want it to be based on if it's a heel or face. So do you think we might get a Charlotte Flair, for example, or a Brock Lesnar, or someone that the fans might not really want, but it doesn't matter because they're not there.
Well, I hope not. So first of all, I hope not. I always but here, my picks for the Royal Rumble are never the people that ever win the Royal Rumble or like people I'd like to see win the Rumble. So I've kind of given up at this point, all these years. But I really hope they don't do that because a lot of the people, there's just so much harsh criticism right now on the company in terms of them not putting a product that the people like. And at this point, I think you got to start. I mean, common sense, right? Start giving the people what they want. And at least, or even if it's not specifically what they want, because not everybody can agree on one single sole thing, at least something that everybody can see a positive in. As much as I like Charlotte Flair and she's my favorite women's wrestler, I know that people don't want to see Charlotte Flair win the Rumble again, so I personally would love to see Rhea Ripley win the Rumble or Bianca Belair, somebody like that, somebody that necessarily hasn't, is on the precipice of actually getting somewhere. They have that star power, they're getting there, but haven't actually had that moment just yet. So that's, I think, what a lot of people can agree on. Whether or not it's going to happen, that I do not know.
And I've put I put SV3 on the spot today when I had him on earlier this week when I had him on the show, and he predicted Big E and Bianca Belair to win the Rumble. Who have you got? I know you threw some names out there, but who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble, men and women's, this year?
So the women's, I definitely hope for Rhea Ripley. So I'm going to give you the ones I hope for, the ones that I would like, because I feel like it would be a better answer. Be a better answer than the alternative. All right. And then the one for the men's, it's completely impossible, right? My pick is completely impossible. Or maybe it's possible. I don't know. Okay. But I'm going to go with it because I want to come up with something new, something different. And I want to put it out there and manifest it. With all the rumors circulating and everything that's going on, I'm going to just go crazy. And I'm going to pick Damian Priest.
Okay. I mean, interesting. I think that obviously that could. So when I heard obviously the news that Damian Priest was getting called up to the main roster, and in that segment with Kevin Owens and Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, my mind went back to Mustafa Ali at 2018 when he was called up straight into that picture on SmackDown, and then the plans were for him to go into that WrestleMania title match. So for a moment it did cross my mind, like, are we going to see Damian Priest be Roman Reigns' WrestleMania opponent, or maybe an opponent for Roman Reigns on the road to WrestleMania? So I don't think it's totally out there. And I mean, he's got the look that Vince would like. He's tall, he's athletic, big, like long hair. So I could see it, and I'd much prefer it to Goldberg. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But for the women, I also think Rhea Ripley, I think it would be nice to see her come full. I presume Charlotte's going to win the title beforehand, so I think it's nice for her to beat Charlotte for the title at WrestleMania and have that sort of come full circle. But yeah, no fans at the show, which is going to be a shame. But as we said, definitely the right thing to do, given cases are rising, unfortunately. I remember in April and March when this all started going crazy, the reports are coming out, WWE's looking for like a June, July WrestleMania this year, it'll be fine. And then we're now here in January, and still we haven't had a single fan at a main roster WWE show since. So it's crazy. But what can you do?
Exactly. Seriously.
Into some other news, COVID related as well. Vince McMahon has reportedly changed how he's acting with mixing of rosters. So we saw with obviously Raw Underground that there was a lot of NXT roster members around ringside, and that's why it was scrapped, because Vince didn't want the rosters mixing. That's why we didn't see an invasion on the road to Survivor Series. That's why reportedly NXT wasn't involved in Survivor Series. But as we've seen with Lucha House Party, Dave Meltzer is reporting on Wrestling Observer on Wrestling Observer newsletter that Vince has changed his mind and he's now more laxed with that, which is definitely interesting with cases going up. But what was interesting about that is, does this mean we're going to get maybe some NXT involvement in the Royal Rumble? Because I was thinking about the women's side of things. I don't think they could field 30 people without NXT involved. We've seen NXT be definitely more involved in the women's side than the men's side before, just by virtue of having less. But I think that there's no way NXT can't be involved in the Royal Rumble in some capacity based on just the numbers and how they're going to have to make up 30 people, which definitely makes sense with Vince relaxing how he's viewed the rosters mixing with COVID.
Exactly. So here's the thing, though, is that I really do think that they should obviously incorporate as many NXT surprises as they possibly can, because when you're watching the Royal Rumble, I feel like there's certain guys that you're like, okay, I know for a fact this person isn't going to win, right? And then there's other people where you're like, okay, they might just go this direction. And then there's people who are like, okay, you know that these are going to be like the core people that they might pick. So I prefer to see those surprises, those unexpected surprises, versus the people in the Rumble that you're just like, oh, I know for a fact that person's not even gonna win. Like, I don't even care about this entry, you know? So I feel that adding these surprises, they gotta do it, especially with NXT. I don't understand why not, especially considering the fact that there's so many like incredible talents on NXT that could really spice up the Rumble. I think would be really cool to, you know, just give the people a little chance of like, oh my God, like what if, like make me like believe something else, like make me not believe that I know all the answers, like surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it will definitely be interesting to see who we get. I know it was reported yesterday by PW Insider, Rhea Ripley's heading up to the main roster. I'd be shocked if WWE brought her up beforehand. I think that's a shoo-in for a Rumble spot. But otherwise, I think they could definitely do some cool stuff with Rumble spots in terms of NXT people. And maybe even a few legends, call it. We saw them on Raw Legends Night this week. So people that we know they don't have an issue bringing in and have a good relationship, like maybe Mickie James for the women if she's cleared. And someone else I thought, maybe Carlito. But some interesting news came out. He was obviously promoted for Raw Legends Night, and everyone was a bit like, okay, cool, we're looking forward to it. But then he wasn't on the show. And it's been reported that maybe feelers were sent out. I think Wrestling Inc. said that it was more feelers being sent out as opposed to he's actually coming, and maybe someone jumped the gun. But PW Insider has since reported that actually he was offered the role to come in as a cameo, sort of like we saw with everyone, like a 2-minute backstage skit. And he wanted more. He wanted to come in and have a match. He didn't want to travel across the country just to be in a backstage segment for 2 minutes. So I think he could be a cool legend spot, I guess. And who are some other legends maybe that you'd be interested in seeing or think could make up sort of a cool Rumble entrance spot? I mean, like as we saw with MVP last year, that can often turn into a lot more of those guest Rumble spots. They can turn into a full-time gig. So who are you hoping that we see come the pay-per-view later this month?
So on the WrestleTalk magazine podcast with Adam, I did say that I wanted to see Kurt Angle. And at first I didn't really he wasn't one that I had automatically, you know, thought of because, you know, the whole retirement and all of that stuff, right? But then I just thought to myself, I think I got myself excited where what if, you know, you just have that one shocking moment. He gets in there, has a couple of shining moments, and then, you know, that's it. He's out, right? Whatever, right? I would like something like that that's completely unexpected. And you mean, look at last year. Last year we got Edge. And nobody expected that whatsoever. So I think that somebody that would be cool to, you know, come on and do something like that would definitely be Kurt Angle. Now, obviously, it seems pretty far-fetched, but it would be something that I, as a fan, would like to see.
Me too. I think that'd be really cool. I think that Wade Barrett is someone that I think could do something. He's obviously with NXT at the moment doing commentary, so he's on the books. If their roster are mixing, he could be someone we could see. Maybe Melina, who I know, Eva Marie as well, who both have been reportedly re-signing with WWE. So I think there are some options, obviously, but I think a lot of it depends on what people are comfortable doing. If people are comfortable coming into obviously the venue with COVID. But we've got some ultra chats in the chamber now to go through, so we'll go through those. If you want to get in your questions, comments, whatever it is, send it into WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle2, and we can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, obviously within reason, as long as it's not incriminating or going to get us in any trouble. We've got one here from Bo Hill regarding AEW. They say, I'm back. Missed the last couple of days. Had vertigo. Oh, sorry to hear about that. Who do you eventually see leading the singles and tag divisions behind Kenny and Mox and the Bucks and FTR? So who do we think are sort of the next crop of talent, I guess? I'll head on over to you for that one, Denise, first. For the men's side, for the men's single side, who do you see sort of leading the charge in 5 years, say?
Definitely in the single side, I would definitely go with Hangman Page. I think that he's one of those people that I'm just like really rooting for to become like one of like the faces of AEW, because I really think that he has grown so much as a competitor. I was already such a big fan of his, and like everything that he has done like in the past year, since the commencement of AEW Dynamite, I think he has really showcased himself and really proven that once he gets to that, that Jon Moxley spot, that Kenny Omega spot, that he can really deliver, and not just the in-ring aspect of it, but also the personality and the character aspect of it. So I would definitely go with Hangman Page.
Yeah, I think Hangman Page is a great show. I think he'd be so good. And I think MJF as well will be right up there. I mean, he's 24 and he's at the top of the card now. So I mean, the sky's the limit for him. I think Jungle Boy also as well. Anyone I speak to in AEW has such high hopes for him. So I think he'll really be up there. And in terms of the tag division, I think Top Flight will be up there. I mean, they're 19 and 21. It's crazy. They could be in the tag division for 15 years and they'd still be good to go. So who do you think in terms of the tag division? Anyone else that you think could really stake a claim, or speaking of maybe the Acclaimed, but anyone that you think could really have a shot for themselves within the next 5-10 years, call it?
Definitely Santana and Ortiz. I don't think that they have been utilized whatsoever to their full perspective. And while I agree that Top Flight is, they're obviously younger, they're going to get their time. I don't necessarily just want to skip from, having the Young Bucks and FTR be the top of the tag team division to then going to Top Flight. I think that there is still people there in the middle that deserve to be in that position. And I personally think that them, along with the Lucha Brothers, are the best tag teams out there. So the fact that they haven't gotten the right opportunity to actually shine and showcase themselves on AEW is pretty astonishing to me, because everything that they did, leading into AEW, it feels like they're nowhere near that anymore. They really are not. And it's very disappointing for me. And I would love to see them, get in that spot. And they could work with guys like Top Flight. They can have matches with them and, help them get those chinks out of their armor that they're just working on, because they're obviously younger guys. But I don't necessarily think that we should skip from the top guys now to like the extremely young guys right now, because they're obviously still in the process of getting there. I think that they should also work on, other teams that are there as well that, have had a longer career than guys like Top Flight, but still haven't gotten to that, like I said, that Young Bucks FTR level that they're being showcased a lot more on Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same with LAX and my views on them. I think same as you, they are one of the most, particularly in the men's side of things, they are probably the biggest wasted act in AEW. I think they are. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the world. But if you just watched AEW, you wouldn't know that. No, and I think they've been a victim of being in a circle, because they're always involved in the skits and the segments. They're always on TV, whether it's ringside for a Jericho or Hager match or a Sammy match or in a backstage segment. They're always on the show. But we aren't seeing them do what they do best, which is step in the tag division. And I was hoping, and we still are, because we only had one show, but I'm hoping 2021 is their year, that we can see them get the tag titles, get involved in that picture. I do agree with you there. And I would have said, probably, if you asked me a year ago, I probably would have said Private Party would be in that mix. But unfortunately, I don't think they've made the progress that we'd be hoping for. I think they are the sort of act that would massively benefit from working indie shows as well as AEW, getting used to that intimate crowd, working on the house show loop. But unfortunately, with COVID and everything, we haven't been able to see that. So they're just wrestling on Dark and occasionally on Dynamite. And I think that they are a team that, unfortunately, we just haven't seen that progression from. And I do fear that teams like Top Flight and the Acclaimed will just overtake them, unfortunately, in the sort of proverbial rankings in terms of AEW management and the perception.
Well, the thing with Private Party is that, they got that big win over the Bucks, right? And that was like, hoorah, great for them. Like one would think they're going to move on to that next level, really have something going on for them on Dynamite. But then after that, there was really no follow-up to that. they hit this peak and then they didn't do anything to follow up with them. And that's the issue. Like, if you're going to give, this team this big win and say, hey, like, this is somebody that we're obviously putting all our eggs into their basket, then you got to have some actual follow up to keep that momentum, because having one big win over, a team like the Bucks isn't necessarily gonna, push them up to like that main superstar spot. Like, there's got to be more after that. And it kind of feels to me like they were sort of forgotten about. And that's the issue too, because obviously they have a very flooded tag team division, a very stacked tag team division. So they haven't necessarily been able to add all of this follow up with everybody else. And I mean, I don't really know how they should fix that, but I do think that I don't think you should waste people's potential on having them wait for their spot, Yeah,
I think the AEW has somehow got too stacked a tag division. I didn't think I'd be able to say that, but I think there are just some teams that there are just too many of now. And I think that maybe with the trios tag titles, we'll start seeing like Private Party and Matt Hardy go into that division. Or maybe even Santana and Ortiz and Sammy Guevara, they could go into that division. The likes of Jurassic Express or Best Friends and Orange Cassidy when Trent is back healthy. So, yeah, I think that I agree with you that there's just so much going on in the tag division right now. But something I did want to bring up to you, because you and I have had this discussion before.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
How are FTR not the best tag team in AEW?
I'm sorry, Luke. I don't like them. I don't like FTR. I'm sorry. I think they're fine for a tag team, but they don't do anything to tickle my pickle.
I see. Okay.
Never mind. I find them not as exciting. I'm sorry. I'm out on this one. And I know you're a fan. And I at this point, I'm like, okay, I know Louis is a fan, so he's going to, have, a great time with FTR, whatever. But for me, I'm out on it.
I get it. I understand it. I understand the criticisms of well, not the criticisms, but the fact that they're not everyone's cup of tea. I just love them. I think they're fantastic. But I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
All right, I'll agree to disagree with you too on this one. But here's the thing about me is that I can always change my mind. I'm open to it. But it's just like when I see other tag teams that are doing this other like great work and they're not getting the opportunity to showcase themselves. And then I'm like, yay, FTR. But at the same time, I just feel like we could really be having other tag teams get in that spot too.
Interesting. Okay. I think I'm going to move on from this before I get very angry. But we've got a chat here from George Amin who says, did you see Ben Carter yesterday? He looks like the second coming of Seth Rollins. So Ben, for those that don't know, because it's NXT UK based, and I just don't think NXT UK is watched by that many people, unfortunately. He is a young wrestler who did work on AEW Dark and was sort of building a real name for himself. There was reports, I think Sean reported from Fightful, that it was both WWE and AEW interested, and he chose to join WWE and debuted on NXT UK on Thursday. So yesterday with Noam Dar in a segment, and then wrestled Jordan Devlin, I believe. So really exciting. That is like, he's great. And the second coming of Seth Rollins is interesting because I don't know if George knows, but he's trained by Seth Rollins. So it's interesting that you see the similarities there, or perhaps you just knew that he was trained. Have you seen a lot of Ben Carter, maybe his debut? We don't blame you if you haven't, because NXT UK, I don't think anyone watches it live. But have you...
I was going to feel bad about saying that I haven't been able to watch as much of NXT UK, but on the magazine podcast, Luke, and he lives in the UK, said he doesn't watch. So you know what? If he doesn't watch, then I don't have to feel that guilty about not watching.
Apart from the takeover shows, which are always great, I only watched one NXT UK TV match, and it was the Walter and Ilya Dragunov match last year. Apart from that, I really haven't watched any NXT UK. There is just too much content. Thursday is my day off. Thursday, not my day off from work, it's just my day off from watching wrestling. I just like to watch any TV that isn't men in shorts beating each other up. That's my ideal Thursday. But have you seen a lot of Ben Carter, either clips on YouTube or heard a lot about him, or are you particularly excited, or are you just haven't heard about him and are just looking forward to seeing potentially what he does. If there is a match that someone says you should go and check out, that you will.
So I always, whenever anybody recommends anybody that I'm not as familiar with, I always try to check things out, because if someone is talking about you, chances are you should know who this person is. But I'm not as familiar with his work. So for now, I'll just be like, I'm going to wait and see what he does.
Yeah, I think he's someone that a lot of people said, oh, why have you joined WWE? You could have been a part of AEW. And I think a lot of it was to do with visa issues from what has been reported. Obviously, to earn money. He's British based, so it made more sense for him to go to NXT UK. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. We'll read one more chat here from CM Chris, who says, hello, Louis, and welcome to the Wrestling Daily family, Denise. Question for Denise and Louis. What is your wrestling New Year's resolutions? I like to watch more shows of a certain company or something else.
I
Wrestling
have one, but I'm thinking.
I think. Go on. I'll let you go first this one. I think that
you go first.
So I'd like to go to the States to cover a show. I haven't. It was going to be last year, be the year that I went, but the world decided to end. And then I was hoping this year, WrestleMania, but that's also looking like very unlikely. So I'm really, that's my goal, but I think it's so out of my hands that it's maybe not a good New Year's resolution because I can't control it. But my aim is to get to the States and be able to cover a show there, interview the people there, and just be part of the media section that goes there.
I hate to break it to you, but I run this place here. This is my territory. And I'm just kidding.
I've heard that.
Like, no, you cannot come here.
I think you probably get when they have like the desk that you go and like get your credentials from or whatever. They're probably like, all right, what publications do you work for? You're sat there for like 3 minutes just listing off everywhere that you work for. But no, it's gonna be very interesting. Hopefully to be able to get to the shows. But have you got a New Year's resolution wrestling related?
So mine was actually similar to yours, but it was just go to a show this year with people. And that's obviously out of my control as well. So it was kind of like a silly one because I'm like, okay, like I want to go to a show this year where everything's, peachy keen, back to normal. But I feel like it's a little bit, not in the realm of possibility. Maybe next year, that could be next year's New Year's wrestling resolution. But maybe another one that I would just like to, maybe just discover more. But at the same time, I feel like I'm watching so much wrestling already that the days that I'm not watching wrestling, I find that it's my, my cleansing palette, especially if I'm watching all these shows. And obviously everything I'm watching is not always going to be, good, but I have to watch it. It's part of my job. But so I like to have those like breaks in between, which is usually for me, unless there's a pay-per-view, my days off are Saturday and Sunday. Like Saturdays and Sunday, I don't really watch wrestling. Actually, if I work Sundays and I work with wrestling projects, but I'm not necessarily watching, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah. But those, unless there's a pay-per-view, I'm not watching Saturday and Sundays.
Interesting. So any dream interviews that you want to get for 2021 then? Anyone that you really want to speak
interviews. I was thinking about this the other day because I feel like I'm almost checked everybody off my box already. But I think the ones that I would like to do are obviously the big ones like The Rock, John Cena. Those are people that I have never gotten. And I would like a one-on-one with Triple H someday. I've interviewed Triple H, but it was Triple H and Stephanie, and it was a carpet, so it was really quickly. So you only get a couple of minutes on carpets. It's not like you can't have the full 15 minutes or whatever. So I would definitely say them. There's still a lot of, smaller names that I would like to talk to as well. And but those would probably be the big ones. And I know that I'm skipping someone because I was just thinking about this the other day and now I'm blanking on it. Molly Holly, she would be somebody that I think would be cool. Kevin Nash would be cool too. Even though I had him on the X-Pac 1 to 360 podcast when I was with Sean, that was cool. But I would like a one-on-one with him. And I would like a one-on-one as well with the Bucks. I haven't had a one-on-one with them or Cody. It was in the podcast setting, so it wasn't, one-on-one. Same thing with Kenny Omega. It wasn't one-on-one either. So I think a lot of the people that I've interviewed on podcasts, I would like to have them as a one-on-one.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be all those that you mentioned. But mine is weirdly, I've always said this, Paul Heyman. I just think he's just so interesting, and I think he'd be the sort of person that could like not carry the interview, but make it more funny as well. I think it's always good when you can have that like bounce off with someone, and I think he would be someone that you could have a good fun time with, which obviously would be interesting. But yeah, I hope that you get one of the names you mentioned, and I hope I get Paul Heyman, although I do very much doubt it.
Hey, don't doubt it. There's certain interviews that I doubted, and then I got them, and I was like, oh, shoot, I got to prepare for this interview now. Like, I better ask some smart questions.
I think I told you the story. So I got when this is how you can tell Denise is a proper journalist. When she emails, where she emails the press releases for what she does and the quotes and gets them all, sends them to other journalists. This is how you can tell Denise is proper. So she put in the header of the email, exclusive with Leon Rush. Leon Ruff. So I see that flash up on my phone, and I think it's like WWE PR saying to me to interview Leon Ruff. And this was like the day, like a week after he won the title or something. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I looked on my phone, and it was from Denise, and I was a bit like, really? And I messaged her. You really got my hopes up there. And it wasn't her fault. It was completely my fault.
I felt so bad when you sent me that message. I was like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. Like, you're thinking you're going to get Leon Ruff. Nah, it's Denise's quotes with her interview that she already had with Leon Ruff.
I was so sad, but it was a very good interview. So go check that out on Denise's channel if you haven't already.
And I made all my emails the same thing too. So I figured that everybody kind of already knew. But like if you go back and you see some of them, they all say the same thing. Like the header is always the same. They
do. And now when I get them, I know. But I think it's
You're like, delete. I hate her.
I think I've blocked you. I can't remember. But yeah, I think it's like you did some great interviews in 2020. So looking forward to what you do in 2021. And someone that could be having a very interesting 2021 is Jay White. So he obviously cut that promo at Wrestle Kingdom, that very good promo that everyone's been talking about, where he said he was done with New Japan. And then at the pin at Wrestle Kingdom, at New Year's Dash from Tomohiro Ishii. And I think people are sort of saying, oh, maybe he's asked for some time off, or maybe he's just decided he's renegotiating a deal and they were going to take him off for that meantime. But I don't think many people expected he was going to leave. And it's now being reported by the Super J podcast, which is part of the Voices of Wrestling network. And they have they're not really sort of a name you associate with wrestling scoops, but that's because they focus mainly on New Japan, but have broken a lot of New Japan stories. And they're reporting that Jay White's contract is up this month and that WWE is making a strong play to get him. And it's currently 50-50 whether he re-signs with WWE, re-signs with New Japan or joins WWE. I mean, he is, I believe, 28, 29.
He's 28, I think. I think we're the same age, Jay White and I.
He's 28, so he's young.
I think I'm older than Jay White. What month is he?
He is October.
I'm older than Jay White. Oh, dear Lord.
Jay White has got 8 years on me, so I'm happy. But
I hate you. Now I hate you.
But yeah, I mean, very interesting news. Particularly around this year, with this sort of contract season as it is in January, February time. Would you be interested in seeing Jay White move to WWE? And do you think he will? Because they're often two very different things, what we want and what we think.
I think it's complicated. I don't think I can answer that question because I personally thought like everything that Jay White was doing was really just like a work, like the whole like I'm leaving this and that. That's how I saw it. But then when I found out his contract status, I started thinking, well, maybe he really is thinking about going elsewhere. Then when they said that WWE was making the push for him, obviously they would have to, right? They have to make the push for him. I don't know if he would go. I think everybody's different. And I think that a lot of people think like, oh, that the second you get the WWE contract or the WWE offer, that everyone's just going to go, right? But that's not the case. A lot of people like everybody's goals are different. Like some people's goals are really like, go to Japan, work with New Japan, like do have all of like these incredible matches. Not everyone's dream is, hey, become a wrestler and go to WWE. So I do think that it just really, It depends, but if he were to go anyplace else, I necessarily see him going the WWE direction instead of the AEW direction.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's the sort of person that, as we say, is young. And I mean, WWE, like when you think of the next stars to break through, you think Keith Lee and Matt Riddle, for example. They're 36 and 34 respectively. So they're not young, whereas Jay White is. So I think he could be a great get for WWE if they do sign him. And if they do, would you like to see him go to NXT, or do you think he's someone that, like an AJ Styles, for example, that could go straight to the main? Yeah, Jay White. Do you think he could go straight to the main roster if he does sign with WWE?
So I've been saying this for a while. I think that WWE needs to break the habit of, hey, this person, we bring in somebody new, right? A big name, and they have to go the NXT route. I think that they need to have somebody do the AJ Styles route. Obviously, you got to earn your stripes. AJ Styles earned his stripes to not come in and be, starting off at NXT. Yep. Like he started off, where he started off for a reason. Okay. So you do got to earn your stripes. But at the same time, I really do think that someone like Jay White, or even if they were to bring in somebody else, I mean, at this point, just break the trend. Break it, because it's more exciting. Like it would be, I can guarantee that you would be more excited if all of a sudden Jay White pops up on Raw one night instead of, Jay White popping up he's been signed, he's at the Performance Center in NXT. Like, come on, like it's two different things. And I just don't think that everybody should be starting at the same level, because obviously everybody is doing different things. Prior to getting that WWE contract, people have different stories, whether it's a guy that was, popular in the Southern California indie scene, and then there's a guy from New Japan. I'm sorry, but it's two different things. Like I think they really do need to break the trend of always just going directly towards the NXT route. And so Jay White would definitely be one of those persons. Like he's one of the guys that is doing and I've been a fan of Jay White since forever. So I'm finally glad that he's starting to get some respect to his name in the wrestling community, because I really don't think that people were respecting him enough prior. There was so much hate on Jay White on the internet, and I thought, these people are dumb. Like they don't know. Like they don't know what they have in Jay White. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, people are finally starting to see that. I'm like, good, because he's always had it. And I've gone on in several podcasts talking about why I'm a fan of Jay White, but really, he has nailed down this character, this role. He's doing better work than some of the people that are in higher positions than him in other companies. And it's like, you don't put a guy like that down at the Performance Center. You just don't do that. Like there are levels to everybody's talent, and there are certain people that should be treated differently.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Jay White could go up to the main roster straight away. Like he's got the talent, he's got the look, he's got everything you'd need. That promo showed he's got the promo skills as well. But I do think that obviously with the war with AEW that we always hear about, it could be someone that NXT looks for to sort of be their big star, to compete with the likes of Moxley and Omega. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. And we've actually got an ultra chat based on Jay White, which I thought we'd get into now. So if you guys want to get it in your ultra chats, head on over to WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle2. And we'll talk about any topic you want to talk about, or any specific questions, send them in. So we've got one here from Mayor of Painesville, Dan, who says, hello, guys. Something serious for once. Switchblade Jay White is rumored to come to WWE. Unless you know more there, Louis. Do you think after all New Japan invested in him, he will go to WWE? Will he be treated like a bigger deal at first? I don't know. So I from what I've heard, and I tweeted this today, from what I have heard, Jay White I haven't heard anything. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just that people I know within the company haven't said that he is interested, or WWE is interested, or there are talks or whatever. But it definitely is interesting that these rumors are starting. And with the fact AW now is a thing, there is less talent, independent talent for WWE to sweep up. So when you hear a name like Jay White is out of contract, you automatically assume that WWE is going to be interested. So it isn't shocking to hear. But in terms of do I think he could leave New Japan? I don't know. I mean, sometimes we've seen with Shinsuke Nakamura, like he did what he wanted to do in New Japan. He then left and is now very happy doing what he's doing in WWE, probably earning a lot of money to just chill. I think Sean likes to say he likes to go surfing. I think maybe that could be Jay White. Maybe Jay White wants to live in America, doesn't want to live in Japan. Who knows? But if that's his call, that's his call. I mean, I think it's very hard to say, will they leave? Because I think we often look at it from the perspective of, all right, you want to leave, go to AEW or New Japan, because that's where the best wrestling is. But I don't think we often don't think about it from a financial point or a sort of a just logistical point for what works best for the people. And we often think, all right, what works best for Jay White, the wrestler, probably staying at New Japan or going to AEW. But what works best for Jay White, the person, we don't know because we don't know him. And I think wrestling fans often don't understand that or don't take that into appreciation when potentially saying that someone shouldn't have moved to a company or someone shouldn't have re-signed with that company.
Yeah, I just don't think you can estimate because even like perfect example, Santana and Ortiz, everybody was, even I was like, yeah, they got to go to AEW, right? Like AEW is the place that's going to give them an opportunity. And here we are having this conversation where they haven't gotten the necessarily opportunity that they were getting when they were in Impact Wrestling. So it's almost that thing where you really can't predict how someone's career is going to play out in a certain company at this point.
Yeah, I think it's so hard to say, and we don't know. But obviously, on Wrestling Daily, we'll keep you guys posted with anything that we hear or any news that is out there. I want to speak very briefly before we get into some ultra chats and talk about WrestleMania predictions about Daniel Bryan, because it's being reported in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that he's been pitching for NXT talent to be used on the main roster, particularly on SmackDown. He's been sitting on creative meetings and he wants to see that fresh blood in the SmackDown scene. Would be very happy to see it. Obviously, we've heard Damian Priest potentially getting called up and being lined up for that. And it is nice to hear that Daniel Bryan is wanting to push those NXT talent. We've heard Big E talking interviews. We've heard Chad Gable talking interviews. We've heard reported that he's been very much behind Grand Metalik. He's looking to push those underutilized talent. And that comes in under NXT. And I think having a guy like him on the creative team and sitting on in those meetings is so important because I think he knows what the fans want. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, I have to say that it's very exciting to hear that Daniel Bryan is having some sort of form of input in creative because he's one of those guys. There's certain guys where you can tell they just get the business. And he's obviously one of those people that does. I mean, he's not, a rookie or anything by any means, So he is somebody that has known this industry for a very long time. And so I feel that I respect his opinions and I'm excited to see what he's going to incorporate, whatever he does incorporate, whatever he gets allowed to incorporate. I do trust his instincts and I trust his judgment. And I don't think there's a lot of people that you can say that about, but Daniel Bryan is that person that you just know, all right, if he thinks something's good for business, I'm going to trust that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see if we do start seeing some more people getting called up off the back of this. But who are some people that you would like to see maybe that after hearing this news, you think, they'd be good on the main roster or they need a call up or maybe they've done all they've done in NXT and would benefit from getting that move to SmackDown? So who are some of the people that come to mind?
Aside from Damian Priest, I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano. I think Karrion Kross, I think he would be better in the main roster given his personality. And Johnny Gargano specifically because I feel that he's done everything that he possibly can. Ciampa as well has done everything he possibly can. And I would say that those are probably the main people. Adam Cole as well, done everything he's done there already too. So it's more of the people that have already, they've really been at the mountain top of NXT and have done just about it all. I feel like those are the people that, hey, let's see let's give them a chance on the main roster. And hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, I mean, it's that almost you don't want to see them get called up because you know what's going to happen. But
at the same time, you want them to reach that full potential. So it's kind of like it's a tough spot.
Exactly. I mean, like as we were speaking about earlier, when I said that some people just don't know why, some people jump on people when they sign with WWE. Same thing here. Like some people, it's been their dream forever to wrestle for WWE on the main roster, to wrestle on SmackDown or Raw. So if they want to do that, fair play to them. Good luck to them. So I think it will definitely be interesting to see over the next couple of months whether we start seeing NXT guys crop up on the main roster now that we've heard this news. So let's head into one or two more Ultra Chats now before we talk about WrestleMania predictions. One here from Mike Jensen, who says, with how WWE handled the pandemic over the summer, I'm pleasantly surprised that they are being cautious with fan capacity. The Super Bowl in Tampa and the Daytona 500 NASCAR race will have limited fans in the next few weeks. Shocking A+ from WWE. Yeah, I mean, So I asked John Albert before this, like a couple of weeks ago. I said, "What's the rules in Florida? Like, what can they do?" And he said, if WWE want, they can hold a 70,000 seater stadium if they really want to. So I was surprised to hear that. Then hearing that, knowing that they're not doing that, because it seems like the sort of thing that they would just, especially for the Royal Rumble, latch on the opportunity to do. Which is obviously very, like, hats off to WWE, because we've seen it with AEW. We've seen it even with NXT at the Capitol Wrestling Center. We've seen it with the other sporting events that Mike mentioned. We've seen other companies do this. So I think fair play to WWE. Fair play for not doing it and thinking with their heads for this one, because it would have been very easy just to go, all right, we'll have fans at the show.
Well, I just don't think that they would want that publicity. I mean, I remember when Florida deemed them, what was it? What was the term again?
Essential business.
Essential business. Thank you. I couldn't think of it on top of my head. But when they named them that, I remember like seeing all like the mainstream media outlets, like you name it, everybody was talking about it. And like the comment section of people that are outside of the wrestling bubble were like, wrestling essential, like what the heck? And I remember like all the negative press that got. So like if they were to do something like, hey, get the, I don't know, whatever, like you said, 70K people in there, the negative publicity for that, it's not worth it.
No, I do agree. I think, like you, as you say, you get an outbreak after that, and it's not worth it. Okay, so let's talk WrestleMania, which I will be shocked if there are not fans there. Regardless of what the current state is like, come April or the end of March, I think.
No,
it's the end of March.
It's too early.
I think it's too early. I think it's far too early. But I can't see them not doing it. I can't see WrestleMania without fans again. I can't.
I don't know. I don't know.
Really don't know. We really don't. And it was going to be very interesting to see how the next couple of months start working out. But okay, WrestleMania plans. I thought we'd run through the card maybe.
Okay.
And talk about for the titles and things like that, what we think we'll see. And then maybe the audience can say which card they liked most. So for the WWE Championship, who do you think is gonna fight over the title at WrestleMania?
I'm thinking Drew Sheamus. I feel like that's where they're going with that one.
Okay, I agree with that personally. I think it could be cool. I think you could also add Keith Lee in there, maybe.
Possibly, if they work their cards right with him.
But I do think Drew and Sheamus is good. They're doing the slow burn feud, which is nice, which I think is rare. And their segments I like because it feels like they're actually just two friends rather than like people that WWE like to make you think of friends that you know aren't. Like they just feel like natural friends with their segments, which is
like
cool.
The Nia Shayna thing. I don't think they're really friends, you know?
I mean, it might be, but it doesn't come off as natural, whereas this does.
Yeah.
For the Universal Championship, I've got Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. I think that Daniel Bryan's going to win the Royal Rumble, and I think that he's going to go on and challenge Roman Reigns, and I think that's going to be a great match. What about you? I know you mentioned the Damian Priest there earlier, their suggestion earlier. Do you think it will be Roman Reigns and Damian Priest?
No, I don't think so. Even though I would like it, I don't think so. I know everybody was saying like, oh, what if, Roman and Roman and Reigns, Roman and The Rock, but I just don't see The Rock coming if there's no people. It's not going to work like that. So I think that I would like something of the direction with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I agree. I cannot physically see Rock coming into WrestleMania or the whole sort of Royal Rumble setup if there are no fans there. I mean, can you imagine WWE has waited years and years and years to have The Rock back for a big WrestleMania match, and then he comes out with the Royal Rumble and there's just no one there? I can't see it.
I know. It sucks so bad. And this WrestleMania was supposed to be here in Los Angeles and SoFi. I was so happy because you don't know how many times, I always travel for WrestleMania. I have to pay for my plane tickets. I have to pay for the hotel. I have to pay for the travel, the food. And I remember thinking, oh, good. I don't have to do any of that this time. I can just be here at my house, not have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about, when you go to another place to, go to wrestling events, that the indie shows are always very much scattered. So you don't know exactly like how the placement of what shows you can really go to because you don't know the area, right? Here, I was so excited because I was like, I know where everything's at. I don't got to worry about nothing. Well, now it's taken away.
Did you think definitely take? I mean, the indie shows won't be happening, but if so, do you?
I don't think anything's happening here. Nothing.
Very interesting. I hope you're wrong, but I hope you're wrong in the safest way possible.
They're very strict here. Like, I mean, they try to be very strict here. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay, interesting. But we will see. We will see how it goes. So far we've both got. So wait, I don't think did you say Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we both had the same there. Any sort of big matches that you think are going to take place that won't have a title attached? Maybe like an Edge, Randy Orton, or something like that.
I got one, but only if there's a crowd. Triple H, AJ.
Okay, cool.
But only if there's a crowd. If there's no crowd, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it would be a really cool match to see, and I know AJ's spoken about it in interviews. And I mean, 2020 was the only year that Triple H hadn't wrestled at all since joining WWE.
He's gonna wrestle from no crowd at WrestleMania. It ain't gonna happen.
Not a chance. But definitely would be an exciting match nonetheless. I don't know if it happens though. I think that a match we will see is Edge and Randy Orton. I think that's a shoo-in because they've started that feud. They should end that feud if Edge is fit, obviously, and able to come back. I've seen some people saying that we get another Firefly Funhouse match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, but I think that's more likely to come.
Not.
Oh, did you not like the Firefly Funhouse match?
No, I didn't.
Denise, why?
I just didn't. I'm not a fan. I'm out.
This is so sad. This is so sad.
We just have very different taste.
I thought it was at the time. I was like, okay, this is weird, but it was different, and I appreciated the fact.
Yeah,
that
I appreciate it's different too, but I've already forgotten about it. I'm out.
I can't talk to you. We're gonna move on. What about the women's title pictures? What do you? So I know you said Rhea Ripley for the Royal Rumble. Do you think it's going to be Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair?
Yeah, that's my pick. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte.
So you think Charlotte's going to beat Asuka beforehand, I presume?
I would hope so. I would hope so because I think she should go in as champion. I think Rhea Ripley should go in, as obviously not the champion, as a challenge for the belt. And I think that we should have Rhea Ripley win.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's the natural way to go about this. And I hope they do go about it that way.
Me too. I agree. And I think for the SmackDown women's one, I know a lot of people have said Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I'm going to go for a three-way with Bayley involved as well. I think you could have a cool dynamic there with the three of them involved and then maybe spin off that into a Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks feud heading into SummerSlam. So that's what I've got from the women's side of things. What did you think for the SmackDown women's title?
I actually agree with you on the women's side of things because even though I would like it to be a singles match with Bianca and Sasha, I don't think we're just there yet. I mean, obviously there's still several months away. Well, maybe not several. We're a couple of months away. But so you don't know what could happen during that time frame. But I don't think I would mind that three-way idea.
Yeah, I think it could be cool, and it's something different. I don't think three-way matches can be good if they're sort of booked well. I remember the match from the 2015 Royal Rumble. Or what was it? 2015 with Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar. I really liked that three-way, and I think it was cool. But they sometimes don't work well if it's like two people in the ring, one person just waiting on the outside, like lying on the floor. I don't think they work then, but it will be interesting. How about any other matches you want to see? Because I know one for me is the Usos versus Street Profits. I think if Jimmy Uso's fit, that could be a really good match to have on the show. Like a nice fun tag match, maybe an opener, and sort of elevate those tag titles. Because once the Usos are back, once Jimmy's back, I'd be shocked if the Usos aren't tag champions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good one too. I don't have another one because I think mine was Triple H AJ. And I mean, I'm pretty much open to anything else other than that. trying to think what else. I mean, I just feel like I want to see. I mean, there's so many dream matches that we wish could happen, but I don't necessarily see them right now in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, do you? And so I mean, there's obviously the elephant in the room, the Goldberg shaped elephant.
Oh, I was like, what's the elephant?
The Goldberg shaped elephant. Do you think he'll wrestle at WrestleMania?
No, I think it's just going to be a Royal Rumble match. I just think it's going to be Goldberg and Drew. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to go to WrestleMania.
So I know you aren't that against the whole idea, and neither am I of Goldberg facing Drew. Do you want to talk us through why maybe you're not as against it as some people seem to be?
Well, so first of all, I'm a fan of Goldberg. I like Goldberg. I love all the things that he did in WCW. I like who he is. You know, I know a lot of people don't like his personality or whatever, but I like Goldberg. I'm a fan of his. And I like the fact that, you know, he's coming back. And, you know, I think one of the reasons that he said he was back, he really wanted to show his son, you know, just what it's like to see his father out there go out and do something like that. And so I like thinking about something like that. I can't necessarily like hate the man for wanting to come back and show his son a little bit about the world that, you know, he was a part of for so many years. So I like him in that sense. And I still think that even though a lot of people hate Goldberg, I still think that there is a good possibility for people. There are people there that have that interest and still see Goldberg as a very big name. And so having a match with Drew McIntyre, I really do think that if Drew McIntyre beats Goldberg, it would do very good things for Drew McIntyre and his reign as champion. So that's why I didn't necessarily see it as a bad thing. But a lot of people thought that because I like Goldberg, they assumed that I wanted Goldberg to win. And I was like, that's not ever what I said, but a lot of people misconstrued that. And so I'm just like, dude, I hope, and a lot of people hated this too, when I said I hope they have a good match. I hope that they have something, you know, similar to what the Brock Lesnar Goldberg match was. That was exciting for me. If they can do something exciting like that with having Drew McIntyre come out on top, I do think that it could be hopefully successful. And I hope that if, you know, they're already going down this direction, so might as well do something good with it.
Yeah, I think it could be definitely interesting, obviously, with Goldberg. I think that I agree with you. If if Drew McIntyre beats him, then I don't know if there's a bigger star on the main roster that Drew McIntyre could beat that could elevate him. Obviously, probably with the exception of Roman Reigns, I think that it could do wonders for him. So, yeah, I agree with you. You are not. We can agree on that opinion, which I like.
Finally, we agree on something.
We've got some more Ultra Chats to get to before we wrap up today. So if you guys want to get them in before we do head out, head on over to WrestleTalk.com/Wrestle2, and we'll talk about your topic before we head out. But one here from Caleb Maldonado, who said, Denise and Louis, the dream team. I like that. It's 2021. What do you look forward to in this year, be it in wrestling or daily life? Also, good luck with the wedding, Denise.
Oh my God, the wedding. Oh,
is that this year?
So stressful because I don't even know what's going to happen. I haven't even been able to plan. I don't know. My wedding's supposed to be July 18th. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I really don't know. So I'm giving myself like an expiration date. Like if by March things are not looking anywhere great, I'm going to have to postpone this wedding. And so it's just going to be, I'm worried because I mean, there's so much that you have to do in postponing a wedding, and I'm so stressed about it. So I don't know. But I think for me in 2021, I'm really just looking forward to just really bringing my career up to the next level. That's what I want to do. I just want to focus and just continue to keep doing good work.
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully graduate from university this year. So that's my aim. And then to make this the full. I basically work full time at this anyway. But I mean, I'm hoping to sort of now officially work full time in this.
I feel like you're full time.
I basically am. I work every day on it and then just find time to do university around that. But yeah, like you, hoping for career wise, just to move on to do bigger things.
Exactly.
We have one here from NS Ogre. I'm gonna guess is how you say that. He goes, holy S word, Denise is everywhere. Good job. After the Brodie show, AEW made a fan for life. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a show that I wish I never had to watch. But given the circumstances, I think it was a fantastic show. But I mean, given like coming out of the show, I wasn't like, oh, I'm really happy for seeing that. It was a sad show, but I think it was a beautiful, beautiful tribute.
It was. I didn't want to cry during that show, but dang, like 2 seconds in, I was just when they did the 10 bell salute and they're showing Brodie Jr. I'm just thinking, like, you just can't help but to think like life is not fair. Like, this is not okay. And so it was just a very emotional watch. And then I think after that, okay, I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm not crying anymore. I can enjoy the show. But then afterwards, when they did everything with the boots in the ring, it was so emotional. But I do have to say that, like, it doesn't matter, like, if you're like anti AEW or whatever, you have to put respect in what they did with that show, because they really went out of their way. They went above and beyond and did so many things, not just for the fans, but for that family. They really did a lot of good things for them. And they made, Brodie Jr.'s dreams come true there. Like, in the midst of all this darkness in his life, he got some really, nice moments there. He got to hit MJF in the head with a kendo stick. Like, come on. But it was really nice. And I think everything that they did was awesome.
Yeah, I know. I think that with Brodie Lee Jr., I mean, what we saw on social media was lovely as well. Just everyone from AEW going above and beyond to make this kid's, I don't want to say make his day, because I mean, I'm sure that he would rather not be in that situation. But I mean, considering the circumstance, I think that they did the best they could by him, which is important. We got two more chats here. One from Carol, who says, "Hi, Louis and Denise. Can't stay live today, but wanted to pop in and send some hugs. Denise looks fabulous as always. Louis seems to be doing great hosting. Maybe have Denise back again sometimes. Anyways, miss you all already. Have a great weekend." I'd love to have Denise back. If there's ever we need someone else, I'd love to have Denise back on the show.
You better want Denise back on the show. Just kidding.
Depends if there's been an FTR match that week
that should be the week you bring me in.
No, because I don't think I'm gonna want to talk to someone.
What if I like it? What if I like it?
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
All right, fine. You'll make the FTR rules then.
Okay, this is a very interesting chat from Matty. Hey, Louis. Hey, Denise. I'm looking forward to SmackDown tonight. I'm loving Roman Reigns and KO. I really hope it's the plan for the Rumble. I do presume it is, by the way. Denise, 2 questions. Is this your first Wrestling Daily?
Yes.
It is. And secondly, I think you need an impression. Can you do your best Greg Hamilton best in the world? So we've had Matty on the show, and he will chat in every day. We have a different host and get us to do the Greg Hamilton best in the world or a different impression. So can you do
yours first? I need inspiration.
I did mine the other week, but I'll do it again.
But I missed it.
You did miss it. I'll do it again. The best in the world, Shane McMahon. So that was mine.
Oh man, I don't think I could do that good. I'm scared.
Okay, I'll tell you what Denise will do. If she doesn't want to do it here, she will tag me in it on Twitter, and I will send it over.
I'll do my best. This is going to be really bad though, so just know that. Okay. The best in the world, Shane McMahon. That was so bad. Forget it. I'm out on this one.
It was more in pitch than mine, which is important, because I don't think you can get more out of pitch than mine was. But listen, Denise, we've loved having you on the show today. It's been great, and I know the comments have been loving having you here. Hopefully we'll have you back.
Loved me. Yay.
Hopefully we'll have you back soon. Next week, for all you guys, should be normal scheduling in terms of the hosts, with Alex back from his sort of taking some family time off. So yeah, I hope to see you guys all next week. We've really appreciated your support, considering sort of the chop and changed schedule this week. But Denise, before you head off, where can people find you? What you got going on? Give us the plugs, which we could be here for a while.
No, I have an easy way. Just go to Twitter and Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. I promote everything on there, so you don't have to like worry about like sitting through like a 20-minute spiel of where you can find me. But seriously though, head over to Twitter. I'm almost at 14K, so come follow me if you haven't already. I'm very active and tweet all the time about wrestling, and I tweet very much with people as well. So you can always expect a like or response from me if I have something to say. If I don't, I'll just give a like. But seriously, head on over there at _ Denise Salcedo, and then youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. That's where you can find all of my work, all of my interviews, and everything like that. So youtube.com/Denise Salcedo.
Awesome. Denise, thank you so much for being on the show, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.